Cloud. Hi, everybody. Today is April 1st, All Fools Day. Welcome, Naveed, Arsh, Nabaron. Today, we'll hopefully have a short agenda, and we will go through the first item on the agenda, which is Arsh presenting a demo of the tool for the dependency updates, and then we can figure out what to do as a next step. Okay, take it away, Arsh.
Yeah, so here's the diagram for the reference. Right now, the dependency is depstat. If you run it directly, it'll print help. There's a help command which does the same. There's a list command which will show you all the dependencies, and a cycle command which will show the cycles. Stats will show you metrics. Currently, we have 3 metrics. There are those being total number of dependencies, max depth of dependencies, and number of transitive dependencies. If you run it in verbose mode, you'll see the dependencies and the longest chain. Json would produce the output of the metrics in a JSON format, so we can pipe it to a file or wherever needed. And graph will create a like dot file, like dot dot file, which we can like pass it to graph viz, and that will generate a graph. So I can show it to you in action if you'd want, or if you're keeping it short, then we can just skip and discuss what to do next.
Do you want to share your screen and show us the command line options that way?
Yep, sure. Should I show it on the Kubernetes repo? Because that will be slower, but okay.
Either one is fine.
Either one is, let's do it on the other one because that is much faster. Yeah, so running the binary directly prints help. Running list would show all the list of the dependencies. Running cycles would show all the cycles in the dependency chain. Running stats will show you the metrics. Stats with verbose mode will show you all the dependencies and the longest chain. Stats with JSON should show the JSON output. And if I run the graph command, that should generate a dot graph file, which I can create a graph from using this other command. And this is our graph right here.
Okay, I'm going to start nitpicking. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Start with the first one. Type in the tool without any parameters. Okay. So depstat gives you cycle, graph, help, list, and stats. That's ordered alphabetically, right?
This is, by the way, auto-generated by Cobra, but we can change it if we like.
Yeah,
but I didn't. Yeah.
Yeah, that's okay. Depstat. So you need to figure out whether you're going to use lowercase depstat everywhere, or you're going to use mixed case. You might want to stick to one. You can see depstat with the capital D at the top. Right?
Yeah. Got it.
Then generate a dot file that can be used with, okay, help about, well, see if you can fix the help about any command that doesn't rhyme. Okay, look what we use for Kubernetes commands and mirror that. List all project dependencies. Okay, you already say it's Go modules enabled project, so that's good. Config. What do you pick up from the config file?
This was like default stuff. I'll remove it. I forgot to remove it right now.
Okay.
This is present in Cobra by default. Yeah.
Okay, then remove that. So do the help for individual commands work?
Yeah.
Show me for each one of them.
I haven't like formalized the data, so gives a list of all the dependencies in the project. These include both. Would it be nice to have the definition of transitive and direct here, or would that make the message too long?
I'll leave that to your discretion.
All right.
Right. But mostly what I'm trying to figure out is if somebody just gets this command, and how do they discover things that it can do, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
so this is the list. Show me the others cycles. Okay. Stats. So stats has the dash F and dash dash JSON doesn't rime. So
Oh,
either you do
yeah.
dash J
Yeah.
or fix it. Okay.
Yeah. That
Global
definitely
fact,
understand.
you need to remove the conflict.
Yeah.
Okay, go to the next one.
Last one is I think graph. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Now, okay. So let's go to the first one. Run the first
List.
command. Yeah. You start alphabetically, right? Like, what's the first one that's alphabetic?
Cycles.
Okay, go with cycles. Okay, so it's is there a reason for the extra new lines between the two?
No, it's just I didn't think. Okay, I'll remove that. Yeah.
Okay. Would it help to output JSON for these?
I don't think so, because if for the
Maybe
Kubernetes,
somebody else will use it in their automation, right?
so the JSON, how would the JSON look like for this? I mean,
So first cycle, second cycle, it's an array. Each
oh,
array
okay.
has
In
two
this order.
entries. Okay.
Okay.
Go to the next one. Next command.
Cycles. We did cycles. Now I think it's list. No,
Okay.
it's graph. This is just print nothing. I think we should have a print message here.
Exactly.
Generated graph.
Exactly. You've
Yeah.
generated the graph. What happens if there is a file that is already there? What do you do?
It gets replaced.
Should you be replacing it?
No, we should probably create a duplicate.
You should probably bail out saying it's already there.
Okay.
Right? Because if it's okay.
Yeah. But like someone might want to just run this command to update the already existing file.
Okay. So think about it. So whichever way you go, you have to say what you're doing, right?
Yeah, probably add that to the help of graph also.
Right.
Next is just help, and after that is list.
Okay.
This can also be, I think, added to a JSON.
So this one, it's not sorted. Does it need to be sorted?
I guess so. Random. I mean, it would be better to have a sorted order instead of a random order.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, again, do you need a JSON on this?
I mean, I'm not clear for a lot of these things because I have no clue what the final, like, where would we be using
I'm
this?
asking the question. So people would just use Go list instead of using yours, right? But I'm asking the question, and then you can say yes or no. Dims, you're crazy.
No, like, what do we plan on the like use case? That depends.
Again, I'm taking this from the point of view of somebody who is just doing a Go install and going through stuff. I'm not looking at it from like, what do we need for Kubernetes?
Got it.
So when you are doing this in your own project, which will be consumed by other people, these are the kind of things that you look for. Okay.
Alright.
So Nabarun, Naveed, do you have any other feedback? Did we finish all of it, right?
Stats is left.
Okay, go ahead, go for it.
We already have the JSON for this.
Max depth of dependencies,
See verbose.
Sure. Yeah. Again, you might have to sort that.
Yeah, total list.
Yeah, and the so when you was it max depth 8? Can you show it to me again?
Yeah, max depth was 8.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
1, 2, 3.
So you don't
4,
count the first one.
5, 6, 7. We count the arrows, like the length edges, not the vertices. Yeah.
You count, but then longest chain is this long, right? So what does that long means?
Length of chain. But I think we should, it probably, since this is about dependencies, it probably makes more sense to have number of dependencies in longest chain.
Okay, so you can say the longest, again, it's up to you, but you should be able to tell a story basically, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Hi, Paris. We are just reviewing a tool that Arsh was writing. So you're welcome to join in on the conversation as well.
Hello.
I put a few comments in the chat, not saying they're important right now, but that's my thought. The other question is, could somebody put a link to the repo that he's working on right now?
Yeah,
Either the chat or the documentation?
I'll do that.
Yeah, throw it in the doc itself so it's useful for other people.
I have a few comments.
Yes, go for it, Naveed.
Sure. Can you go back to?
Just a second, I'll put the link in the doc.
I took the notes for you.
Oh, thank you so much. I've added the link to the repository in case someone wants to see the code. Yeah, Naveed, so you were saying?
Sure. Yeah, can you go back to terminal, please? Yeah, so a few things. For example, for each individual command, so Cobra provides you with example option, so in which you can write down specific examples and a comment line that will show up in the help message for individual commands. The JSON flag for individual subcommands is actually trivial. So ping me for that. I can help you with that. I think thinking about like say Kubernetes, where we may have dependency chain like longer dependency chains. So we may want to wrap the output to 80 characters so that it fits on the terminal and it's visible. Can you tell me the difference between stats and the verbose? Can you run those commands individually?
Okay, so I wanted to clarify, like, what were you saying initially about the help option and example? So example would mean like there's no input. So
while you define the command in cobra.command, there is an option where you say run e usage here, right? So there is an option. So right after use and short, right, you can specify examples, line number 11 or 12. So you can write text examples that will show up in the help messages. The second thing is about I wrote that about wrapping the output. Yep, on the notes in the meeting.
Okay, so it's there, right? Thank you so much for that. Yeah, so you were saying the verbose mode?
Yeah, just run it first without verbose.
Okay. So verbose is like basically to verify like why is this number 8 here, so that you can see, or why is this 130 here.
We can actually think about separating the stats into the individual subcommands. I could think of like total dependencies, max depth, transitive depths, and then the stats would combine them all. That's another thing. But and can you run the verbose? So verbose would basically expand those, right? Expand those numbers.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll take a look at that, and think through this, and maybe talk to you over the Slack about, if there are
That'd be
any other
great.
option. Yep.
Thank you.
So this is cool. This is like quick progress. Excellent.
Thank you. Other people also wrote in the chat. I can't see.
What do you
Paris,
mean
did
quick
you?
progress? The amount Arsha's worked is like crazy.
I've received help from a lot of people. So, Paris, I can't see the chat. Like, did you ask something specific? I can address that if you.
They may have been addressed. I was thinking about newbies, right? I deal with a lot of new people that come to Go and cloud native development. So for me, auto completion is like the first thing that they need. And the second thing, which I already mentioned, was examples. And I would always add at least one, if you can provide as many examples of the most common use case that you're trying to solve. I wouldn't do every end case, but like if you can do 3 of the most common use cases for the major commands, that always goes a long way with people, because then they can see how they can incorporate the tool into your environment. The other thing is can you go back and show your standard flags again that are being shown when you ask for help?
Yeah, sure. So when you said autocomplete, do you mean like pressing tab and the command completes itself? That?
Absolutely. That's part of
Okay.
Cobra. All you have to do is pretty much import one file, and as long as you documented it the way you've been doing right now, it automatically generates all of that.
I didn't know about that. Thank you for that. I'll look into
Which, if
adding
you
that.
want, I can help you with that, because I'm actually going around to different projects that have older versions and updating it to 1.1.3. So if you want some help, I'll be happy to help, and also do some functional testing with you if you want.
That'd be great. I'll text you on
Just
Slack.
gotta let me know time, date, whatever. Give me something so I can at least tell my wife, hey, I'm gonna be on something for an hour trying to help this guy. All right. So but like these flags, right? I don't see. All right, this is cool. So when I do flags just for stat, what would I see again? I just want you to just go back over it because I don't remember.
You want to see the help on stats?
Yes, please. Okay. The only other thing I would want to make sure, which I am concerned about, is different people are doing the flags not consistently across projects for the JSON and the YAML and XML. I would just make sure that you're consistent with everybody else, because I've seen some people do it this way, and I've seen other people do output. So the
dash output and then you specify. Yeah, Tim's and I discussed this.
I would go with the more senior projects way that they're doing it, so that you're not an edge case.
So kubectl and all, they do dash output, but I think when Tim's and I were suggesting we thought that, like we would probably not support anything else apart from JSON. So does it make sense to, because it'll be confusing, then people will try to think that.
I personally, by default, just to make the script writers happy, I want human readable by default. If human readable is the primary user of it, but I want XML, JSON, and YAML. I just want it, right? I don't want to have to add something to get it to that, right? So if you have JSON, add another a method. That's the reason why I like output, because a lot of people want to just wrap your tool into other functionality when they're writing quick scripts. That's only my personal experience. I'm not saying how it should be, but I prefer to have that. I get very upset when I expect at least one of them and then there's none. I get very frustrated.
That makes sense. Yes, we can surely add that.
But again, if the use case on this is that 99.9% of the people are going to be using JSON, they're never going to look at it or whatever. I'm not here to say go crazy to do the other ones, but you could pretty much boilerplate that functionality out and just, you know, if you're comfortable with JSON, then just add a converter method to just, you know, transpile it to the other two, and then use output. That's my thought, personal.
Yeah, got it. We can do those as follow-ups. It's not necessary for the first round itself. Yeah, let's wrap up the first use case. So Arsh, do you feel that you're at a point where we can move to scripts, update and verify scripts in KK repository?
Update and verify, I don't know what you mean by that. Sorry.
So in the hack directory, there are a lot of update and verify scripts.
Mm-hmm.
So the way we do this is we would have to generate the JSON file in a well-known location in the Kubernetes tree, right? And we have to keep that up to date, right? That's the whole point of this tool that we are trying to make here, right? So when somebody runs the update tool, update shell script, it will update the JSON file.
Mm-hmm.
When they run verify, what happens is it will compare the existing JSON file and the new JSON file. And it'll fail if the new JSON file is different from the old JSON file.
And this update script would be run when someone submits a PR or something, I think.
Correct. Exactly. So examples to look at is update go format.sh and update verify go format.sh.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that would be examples for you to go look at. So update go format.sh will go around updating all the go format -w-s, and it'll update everything, right? And then the verify will check whether any of the files that are not up to date that need to be updated, right? So in the CI jobs, the verify scripts are run, and the verify scripts will basically yell at people if they forgot to update any of the files. Got it?
Got it. Makes sense.
Now,
yeah.
So that between the update and verify, the JSON file will be up to date, right? When somebody submits a PR with a new dependency change and it affects the total number of dependencies or whatever like that, then we would tell them to run the tool. Maybe we'll call the update shell script from, instead of having a separate script, we might just throw it into the update vendor.sh, for example, right? Update vendor.sh, you familiar with that script? No. Okay, so there is an update vendor.sh which updates all the dependencies. So
dependencies are good. Yeah.
You would basically tag this at the end saying, okay, all the dependencies are updated. Now update the JSON file. So that's an example, right? But start with standalone scripts, and then we'll figure out whether we'll just call one script from another script. Okay. So between those two scripts, the KK main repository will be up to date, right? But then the next challenge is going to be we are basically we need to tell the dependency approvers that something has changed, and they have to like approve this change, right? Like if it goes from 30 to 50, right, and the dependency approvers don't see it, right, then that's a problem we are trying to solve here, right? So we should put the JSON file in a directory where dependency approvers it's going to highlight the dependency approvers. So we'll figure out which directory to put that in, but for now, just put it in vendor directory.
So they'll have to like manually see that file.
No, it'll ask for approval from them, basically.
Yeah.
Right. So when that file gets touched by somebody, then the dependency approvers will basically get
changed.
they will need to sign off on this change. Got it?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll give you some other URLs about like how we do dependency updates and stuff like that, so you can try things out and see what is a good workflow for this, what we are talking about here. So this should be your next goal. Have a set of update and verify scripts that manage this file so that we highlight that this is a new file and any changes to this file needs to be approved by dep approvers and get that going, right? So now before you can try this out in a PR in Kubernetes, you don't need anybody's permission to do this. So your tool will basically be installed using go install or something like that, and then you would run the tool. So make sure you have. There are several other tools that are there. There is in hack tools. There is a go.mod file, hack/tools. So that's where you would add it. And if you look at that go.mod file, you will see that we have several other tools that are in the similar fashion as your tool. Okay. Now, one of the main things before we can land this code is, are we going to keep your tool
in the repository?
The same repository that you have it in right now?
Yeah, I was also going to ask that. Where else can we put it? Under the SIG Arch some project?
That's a question. So what I would say is talk to Nikita to see where it would fit. Nikita does GitHub management, so she'll probably give you some pointers. And in a worst case scenario, we would request a repository in under SIG Arch name, basically, right? That would be then basically you'll add owners files, and there's a process for it, and there's a template for it, and those kinds of things, right? Like, and there has to be approvers, and there's bots going to be running against it. So you end up doing the whole thing, but you should POC the update and verify scripts. That's one thread. The other thread does talk to Nikita about like where this would fit in. Okay.
Got it.
Okay. Cool. And let's shoot for a week or so for this.
Update and verify scripts, yes. Yeah.
Incorporate all the things. I mean, not all the things. Whatever you feel comfortable incorporate those things from today's discussion as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
I might ping you again on the updating scripts because I'm a little bit confused about that part.
Yes. So yes, please do.
Thank you so much.
Again, Naveed and Navarun are there too, so they'll be able to help you as well. We've all mugged around with those scripts insane number of times. Okay.
Okay.
Naveed, Navarun, anything else?
No, that was a nice way to categorize that.
Your
didn't
voice
catch
is
you, Navarun.
breaking.
Okay. Audio issues. No worries. Paris, thanks for hanging out with us. Mike, Paris, did you have anything to talk about today? No.
Just came to learn.
Nope, just hanging out, seeing what you guys are up to.
Yeah, just a little tool to count dependencies.
Yep, that's cool.
Okay, sounds good. Nice work, Ash. Thanks a lot, everyone. We'll see you all in 2 weeks. Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
On your move,
Have a
on
nice-
your moving around for the JSON stuff, we're trying to get rid of the version of TOML we're using, by the way, James.
Oh, okay. So you're going to move to a newer version of TOML?
Yes. Yeah, we're moving to a newer version. Maxim started the work. So.
Okay. Yeah. So for those of you who are who don't have the context, so Containerd is another project that Mike and I are associated with. So in that there is a configuration file. It goes under /etc containerd directory, and the problem that we are having is so there is a default configuration, and you can use the command line to generate the default configuration file, which will have all the options. It has like a section, and then it has name value pairs, and you can arbitrarily nest it. So it's really powerful. Now the problem that we are having there is we want people to be able to specify some changes which are different from the default config, and only those, like for example, if I want to change true to false, or like I want to go from like I want to specify a binary name deep in the configuration. I don't want to do the whole configuration. I don't want to generate the whole configuration file. I want to specify only these things that I want changed, right? And that is somehow not working properly. So
we didn't do a whole lot of atomicity. we created a monolithic config, and that's creating some issues.
Right. So for example, the problem we faced yesterday was I wanted to change like one option, which was like 3 levels nested, and it was failing because something in the level above it was not specified in my configuration file. So I had to specify like level 3, level 2, level 1, all the parameters there, and then it would take it.
Right. You're missing the default shim for run C to be V2.
Exactly.
Obvious, right? It's obvious.
Yeah, I know.
before you could actually use system D, as the as root for the containers.
So,
yeah.
Anyway, that was another fun rabbit hole that we run into.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the Docker team also used TOML, and it was a version called Burnt Sushi, and everybody that started from Docker went out, right? Just use Burnt Sushi. But as happens with a lot of open source projects, this one sort of fell by the wayside and isn't really being supported anymore. So now we had to move up to a different one. Peltier is the one, also sometimes called GoTOML.
And basically the burnt sushi guy, he moved to do Rust now. So if you're not familiar with ripgrep, RIP, you should use ripgrep. It's awesome. And that's written in Rust. So anyway, shout out to Burns Sushi. Thanks for all the work that you've done over there.
Please come back someday.
Yeah, exactly.
Never mind. Just hope we got Peltier now. So I don't know. I don't know. At some point, yes, I think we need to have some common guidelines for all the sub projects.
Right.
For configuration models. I'd prefer using YAML or something, but yeah, it is what it is, right? There were small clients in the beginning, so
Yeah.
Oh well. Anyhow,
Tend to grow up too fast. Okay. Bye, everyone.
all right, man. Cheers.